Have you ever said something and immediately regretted it, wishing you could rewind time? We've all been there. That moment when your words hit like an arrow you can't take back. But what if you could control your speech so that every word you say radiates confidence, intelligence, and grace? That's exactly what we're exploring today. 6 things an intelligent person never says, all inspired by the timeless philosophy of Stoicism. Stoicism teaches us that words aren't just sounds, they're reflections of your intellect and values. From avoiding meaningless bragging to embracing the power of silence, these habits not only shape how you communicate, but also define who you are. And the best part? By the time you finish this video, you'll gain practical insights to instantly improve the way you speak, whether at work, with friends, or even in your own thoughts. So get ready. This isn't just about what you say, it's about how your words shape your identity. You won't want to miss this. We're about to embark on a journey that will transform how you understand the true power of speech. 1. Avoid boasting about knowledge. Have you ever encountered someone who constantly brags about their knowledge and achievements? They endlessly talk about what they know, the lessons they've learned, and even the books they've read. At first, you might find it impressive, but eventually, that initial interest fades into distance. It's not that their knowledge isn't valuable, but the way they present it makes others feel diminished. Stoic philosophy teaches that genuine wisdom doesn't need to be displayed. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Nature never boasts about its creations, and we shouldn't claim credit for our wisdom either." This isn't just advice, it's a philosophy to live by. Let me tell you a story. I once had a friend named John, a tech expert. In meetings or social events, he always tried to be the smartest person there. He'd brag about the big projects he'd worked on, the advanced technologies he'd mastered, and even the awards he'd received. At first, people were fascinated, but over time, they started to feel that John was turning every conversation into a personal display. One day, a colleague bluntly told him that although his knowledge was impressive, the way he shared it was making others uncomfortable. That moment marked a turning point for John, as he realized that in his efforts to impress, he had been pushing people away without even realizing it. This is a common trap that many people fall into. Before sharing your knowledge or achievements, ask yourself why. Are you truly aiming to help others or contribute to the conversation? When your primary aim is to impress or be recognized, it's time to pause. Boasting can undermine the impact of your words and create an invisible barrier in your relationships. Instead of inspiring others, you might inadvertently make them feel measured against your perceived intellect. Stoicism provides a solution. Let your actions speak louder than your words. If you possess true knowledge, it will naturally shine through in your work and problem-solving abilities. 2. Cultivate humility. It's not about diminishing your skills, but letting others discover your worth through interactions and experiences. Finally, prioritize listening. When you listen, you not only gain insights from others but also demonstrate respect and foster deeper connections. Stoics viewed silence as a powerful tool. It's not an absence of knowledge but a sign of confidence and true understanding. John gradually learned this valuable lesson. He started talking less about himself and actively listening to the stories and ideas of others. Instead of dominating conversations, he shifted his focus to contributing humbly and truly listening. Over time, people began seeking John out, not just for his intelligence, but for his sincerity and collaborative spirit. He demonstrated that knowledge isn't meant for showmanship but for elevating the community. Avoiding boasting doesn't mean suppressing your knowledge, it's about sharing it in a way that empowers others. It means presenting your knowledge in a way that respects and connects with others. Stoic philosophy emphasizes that your words are a reflection of your inner character. By choosing humility over arrogance, you enrich not only your own life but also the lives of those around you. Reflect on this. What do your words reveal about your character? The answer will guide your path to personal growth. 2. Never dismiss others' opinions. Have you ever been ignored in a conversation, where your opinion was dismissed before you even had the chance to speak? It's a hurtful feeling, as if all your effort and thoughts were being brushed aside. The worst part? You might even start to question yourself. Is what I'm saying really not valuable? I know this feeling all too well because I've been the one causing it. When I first stepped into a leadership role at work, I was confident in my ability to make quick decisions. During one meeting, a colleague proposed an idea to improve our workflow. Without a second thought, I interrupted and dismissed it as unrealistic. I believed I was saving everyone time. What I didn't realize was the uncomfortable silence that followed, the unsure glances from others, and how the meeting carried on with little enthusiasm for new ideas. Afterward, a trusted colleague gently told me, "Maybe you should have listened a bit longer. That idea wasn't as bad as it sounded at first." That comment hit me like a wake-up call. Not only had I missed an opportunity, but I had also unintentionally fostered a culture of hesitation within my team. Stoic philosophy reminds us that real wisdom comes from being open, not from arrogance. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You cannot learn what you think you already know." When you dismiss someone's opinion without hearing them out, you're not just closing the door on creativity, but also damaging trust and connection. This doesn't only cost you great ideas, it also weakens your leadership. From that experience, I started changing how I approach conversations. In later meetings, I reminded myself that listening doesn't mean agreeing, it's about showing respect and being open to learning, even if the idea doesn't seem practical at first. To my surprise, by adopting a curious mindset, my team began offering breakthrough solutions I had never thought of. Here's a perspective shift to try. Instead of asking, "How can I counter this idea?" ask yourself, "What can I learn from this?" Even ideas that seem flawed can hold valuable insights. And if not, you still gain a clearer understanding of how someone else sees the problem, which in itself is valuable. Second, practice humility. Stoicism teaches us that we are not the center of the universe. Dismissing someone else's opinion is essentially an act of elevating your own viewpoint above all others, as if only you possess the ultimate truth. But the reality is, no single person has all the answers. True wisdom lies in collaboration and the exchange of ideas. After changing my approach, the atmosphere in our meetings transformed. I began asking more questions and encouraging even the quietest team members to voice their thoughts. The result? Not only did we come up with better ideas, but the team also felt more respected and connected. I realized that everyone, in their own way, has something to teach me, something I had overlooked due to my own impatience and overconfidence. In the end, choosing not to dismiss others' opinions isn't just an act of kindness, it's a smart strategy. When you respect the viewpoints of those around you, you unlock a world of ideas, insights, and opportunities. You build trust and foster an environment where true innovation can flourish. As Stoics believe, wisdom isn't about proving you're right, it's about recognizing that everyone, in their own way, holds a piece of the truth, and that is the essence of true wisdom. 3. Refrain from complaining without purpose. Imagine someone like Peter, a middle-aged professional with years of experience. He has a lot on his plate, juggling work deadlines, family responsibilities, and the inevitable challenges life throws his way. Yet, instead of addressing these challenges constructively, Peter has developed a habit of constant complaining. From the inefficiency of his coworkers to how the coffee machine at work always seems to be broken, Peter's complaints have no end. At first, his colleagues sympathized, even offering solutions. But as weeks turned into months, the constant negativity began to wear them down. Conversations with Peter became exhausting, and people began avoiding him, not because they didn't care, but because they couldn't handle the endless complaints. One day, during a lunch break, a friend said something that made Peter stop in his tracks. "Peter, I understand your frustration, but what are you doing to solve these problems?" The question lingered. Peter realized he wasn't seeking solutions, he was simply venting without purpose. Worse, his constant negativity wasn't just pushing others away, it was also strengthening his own sense of helplessness. This situation is all too familiar. It's easy to fall into the trap of venting frustrations without thinking about the effect on others or ourselves. Stoic philosophy provides a powerful remedy: focus on what you can control and let go of what you cannot. Marcus Aurelius, one of Stoicism's greatest philosophers, wisely wrote, "You have power over your mind, not external events. Understand this, and you will find strength." Complaining, especially about things beyond our control, only amplifies feelings of powerlessness, trapping us in a cycle of negativity. However, not all complaints are inherently harmful. When framed with a purpose, complaints can drive positive change. But without direction, they become mere noise, empty words that drain energy and solve nothing. Think about it. Complaining about traffic doesn't clear the roads, and grumbling about the weather won't stop the rain. Smart people recognize this difference and focus their energy on what truly matters. So how can you break free from the habit of pointless complaining? Start by asking yourself one simple question whenever frustration arises. What can I do about this? If the answer is nothing, then let it go. Venting about situations beyond your control wastes time and steals your inner peace. Instead, redirect that energy into something constructive. Read, reflect, or practice gratitude for the things that are going well in your life. Another strategy is to shift your perspective. Instead of asking, "Why does this always happen to me?" try asking, "What can I learn from this?" Stoicism teaches that every challenge is an opportunity for growth. Complaints prevent us from seeing these opportunities, while reflection enables us to discover them. Returning to Peter, he took his friend's advice seriously and started to change his mindset. Instead of complaining about his manager, he began devising thoughtful solutions to the challenges at work. Rather than grumbling about his commute, he listened to audiobooks or practiced mindfulness during traffic jams. Over time, his perspective shifted. His words became more impactful because they were no longer clouded with negativity. His relationships improved, and his colleagues started seeking his advice and company, drawn to his calm, solution-focused attitude. Ultimately, avoiding aimless complaints is a way of reclaiming your power. By focusing on what you can control, you not only strengthen your mind but also amplify your impact on those around you. Stoic philosophy teaches us that our words and thoughts are powerful tools. When used wisely, words and thoughts can help build a life of resilience, purpose, and meaningful connections with others. By letting go of empty complaints and embracing constructive actions, you not only change how others see you but also transform your own life. 4. No empty promises. Promises hold a unique weight in our lives. Our words shape expectations, build trust, and define relationships. Yet, how often do we make promises without fully considering if we can keep them? This habit, though often unintentional, can undermine our credibility and weaken connections. Stoic philosophy teaches us the importance of aligning our words with our actions. Integrity lies not in saying a lot, but in delivering on our promises. Let's consider a man named Greg, a professional in his 50s, balancing a demanding career and family responsibilities. Greg had good intentions but often overcommit himself. He'd promise his team that he'd review their reports by Monday or tell his family he'd be home in time for dinner, only to repeatedly fall short. At first, people excused his behavior, attributing it to his busy schedule. But as the unkept promises stacked up, so did the growing frustration. His team started to question his commitments, and his family grew tired of his endless excuses. Greg's words, once trusted at face value, now carried an undertone of doubt. One evening, after missing yet another family event, his teenage daughter left a note on his desk that said, "We just want you to mean it when you say it." That simple message hit home. Greg realized that, despite his good intentions, his empty promises were causing more harm than good, slowly eroding the trust and respect he had worked so hard to earn. This story illustrates a core Stoic principle. Speak with intention and act with integrity, Marcus Aurelius once wrote. Let your words be simple and true. This lesson reminds us that promises aren't just meant to please in the moment. They are commitments that link our words to our character. Breaking a promise, even without meaning to, is like writing a check that your credibility can't cover. So, how can we avoid making empty promises while still building trust and respect? Take a moment to pause before committing. Ask yourself, do I have the time, resources, and energy to keep this promise? If you're unsure, it's wiser to set realistic expectations rather than overpromising and underdelivering. For example, instead of saying, "I'll definitely have this ready by tomorrow," try saying, "I'll aim to have it ready by tomorrow, but if I need more time, I'll let you know." Another approach is to underpromise and overdeliver. By setting realistic goals and occasionally exceeding them, you not only avoid disappointment but also cultivate a reputation for reliability. Imagine Greg telling his team that he would need 3 days to review their reports, but finishing them in 2. Such actions speak for themselves, showcasing both competence and consideration. Finally, embrace accountability. If you find yourself unable to keep a promise, address it directly. Apologize sincerely, briefly explain the situation, and offer a solution. This approach minimizes the impact and shows respect for the other person's time and trust. Greg took these lessons to heart. He became more thoughtful about his commitments, learning to say no when needed and ensuring he could follow through on his yes. Over time, his team regained their trust in him, and his family recognized his efforts as sincere. Moreover, Greg noticed a shift within himself, a sense of peace knowing that his words held weight and his actions supported them. In the end, avoiding empty promises isn't about perfection, it's about being genuine and reliable. Stoic philosophy teaches that true strength comes from living with integrity, where our words and actions align effortlessly. By adhering to this principle, you not only gain respect but also foster deeper, more meaningful relationships. Ultimately, it's not the promises we make that define us, but the ones we keep before moving on to the next. If you're enjoying this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel with the notification bell on, so you never miss future videos. If you're as passionate about this kind of content as I am, drop a comment saying, "I love this wisdom." 5. Don't deny your mistakes. Have you ever felt like admitting a mistake exposes your weaknesses for others to judge? I used to feel that way too, but one experience completely shifted my perspective. Through Stoic philosophy, I learned that owning up to your mistakes doesn't reduce your value. Instead, it shows that you're someone with honesty and strength. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If someone can prove me wrong and point out my mistake in any thought or action, I will gladly change, for it is the truth I seek, and the truth never harmed anyone." Let me share a personal story. A few years ago, I was leading a major project at work. In my hurry to meet a tight deadline, I missed some key details in a report. As a result, those mistakes led my team to face criticism from upper management. When the mistake was discovered, my first instinct was to make excuses, blame the heavy workload, the tight deadline, anything but myself. But deep down, I knew that would only damage the trust one had worked so hard to build. Instead, I decided to address the issue directly at the next meeting. I owned up to my mistake, apologized to my team, and laid out clear steps to prevent it from happening again. The response was surprising. Rather than judgment, my colleagues valued my honesty. Some even thanked me for taking accountability and setting an example. I realized then that admitting my mistake didn't weaken me, it made me more trustworthy. Why is owning up to mistakes so powerful? Because it breaks down walls of defensiveness and builds trust. By taking responsibility, you send a powerful message that you prioritize truth over ego. You also foster a safe space where others feel comfortable owning up to their mistakes and working toward solutions. But let's be honest, admitting a mistake is not always easy. We fear judgment or losing respect. But consider this. Does denying an obvious mistake actually improve your image, or does it make you look unreliable? Remember, the courage to admit your faults is a sign of confidence. It shows you are strong enough to face the truth and committed to getting better. So, how can you apply this lesson in your life? Start by practicing self-awareness. When things go wrong, resist the temptation to blame others and instead ask yourself, what part did I play in this? Even if your responsibility is minor, acknowledging it is the first step toward finding a solution. Next, focus on fixing the issue. Don't just apologize and move on. Show through your actions that you're committed to making things right. Stoic philosophy teaches us that mistakes are not failures, but opportunities for growth and learning. Those brave enough to own their mistakes don't just improve themselves, they also inspire others. When you embrace your mistakes, you build a foundation of trust and respect. The next time you slip up, don't shy away or deflect. Take a moment, own your mistake, and pledge to do better. The courage to admit your faults is what truly distinguishes you and earns genuine respect. 6. Don't overshare future plans. The Stoics highlight that honoring promises goes beyond simply meeting obligations. It's about safeguarding your credibility and showing respect for others. Even small empty promises can gradually erode your reputation and trustworthiness. Let me share a story that might sound familiar. Meet Jim, a friendly middle-aged professional who always seems to say yes to every request. Whether it's helping a friend move, taking on an extra work project, or promising to attend every community gathering, Jim's usual response is, "Sure, count me in." As life became busier, Jim's well-intentioned agreements started to accumulate, and he began forgetting or failing to follow through. One day, a close friend invited Jim to an important family dinner. Jim, true to his usual form, eagerly agreed, but later forgot and scheduled a work meeting at the same time. The day after the dinner, his friend expressed how disappointed their family was. It was a wake-up call for Jim. He realized that his words, meant to please in the moment, were causing more harm than good. His promises, though not malicious, had become hollow, damaging the relationships he cared about the most. This situation highlights a common trap. We often overcommit to avoid discomfort or to appear agreeable, but the Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, remind us that our words should be meaningful and reflect our actions. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Essentially, every promise should be rooted in authenticity and intention. Often, we overcommit to avoid disappointing others, but ultimately, breaking a promise causes more harm. So how do you avoid making empty promises? Start with a pause. Before committing to anything, take a moment to assess whether it aligns with your priorities and whether you can realistically deliver. A respectful no is often more valuable than a hesitant yes that you can't keep. People appreciate honesty and clarity over vague promises that ultimately lead to disappointment. Next, prioritize quality over quantity. It's better to commit to fewer things and do them well than to overextend yourself and disappoint others. When you make a commitment, do so with intention and strive for excellence. This approach builds a reputation for reliability and respect. Remember, saying no is not selfish, it's self-awareness. The Stoics believed in living in accordance with virtue, which includes recognizing your limitations and honoring your commitments. Focusing on what you can control and overcommitting diminishes your ability to fulfill meaningful promises. Intentional and deliberate commitments protect your integrity and build trust. Jim's wake-up call prompted him to adopt a more mindful approach. He started declining requests he couldn't fulfill and focused on delivering on his most important commitments. Over time, his relationships flourished. People respected him not for blind agreement, but for his unwavering commitment to his promises. Ultimately, avoiding empty promises builds trust, which goes far beyond simply keeping your word. It's about aligning your actions with your values and fostering deeper, more meaningful connections. The Stoics remind us that our words reflect who we are, both to others and ourselves. So, the next time someone asks for a commitment, take a moment. Reflect on whether it aligns with your priorities and if you can realistically deliver. Remember, a thoughtful no is far more valuable than a hollow yes. By prioritizing quality over quantity in your commitments, you build trust, strengthen relationships, and ultimately, live with greater integrity. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What are your experiences with keeping promises? Share your challenges and triumphs in the comments below. Let's all strive to be people of our word, one thoughtful commitment at a time. Please hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and leave a comment below to share your story, your successes, and even the challenges you've overcome. If you're not sure what to comment, just write, "I love this," to show that you've completed the session. Your engagement helps this community grow toward wisdom and the art of turning every challenge into an opportunity. I'll leave 2 more videos here so you can continue learning and growing on your personal development journey. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.